So we're a group of 3 people. It's me, I've got a business relationship manager, and we've just recruited an exec ed coordinator. So we're a small team, and our whole way of working is to listen to customers and be friendly, open and responsive. So in terms of key account management, it's really about forming good relationships with our sponsors. We want to feel like they know us really well, they can call on us if they've got a problem with the programme. So a big identifier of how we run exec ed is these really close working relationships that we have with the key people, particularly in the local community. And then it's about building them as part of our network, inviting them to deliver as part of our events so that they really hopefully feel part of Cardiff Business School and Cardiff University.
We've got a team of about 5 people who are constantly looking at the new opportunities that are coming to us. And the first job that they do is really qualify those responses in terms of, are those organisations ones we want to work with from a reputational point of view? Financially, are they in a sustainable position? Is what they're looking for from us something that we can supply? I mean, they're by and large the main issues. Then we're having to work through what I think is an increasingly complicated procurement process, where there's an awful lot of compliance to deal with, even before we start talking about the substantive content that we're bringing in. So a lot of that is using professional business development skills. Then we have to bring in in a sense, the academic content. We integrate the academics and some of our associate faculty into that to start to understand what the learning journeys might be. That said, once we've won the work, we then hand that over to a key account management group who are ensuring that the work is delivered, but also where possible, we can broaden out the amount of work we can do, either more custom work or where we can sell in other parts of the school as well. In our open programs, it's much more of a B2C type activity. And so we've got a group of people who are very strong in marketing, very good at targeting networks, so conferences that are focused on specific topics, and very good at then connecting up with individuals who might be interested in going through that selling process. And then we also have clear hurdles then in terms of what new programs we might launch. So firstly, there's an academic hurdle, and so the program has to have academics at the core of it. So we have to have something to say. But also we're looking at commercial hurdles as well. So we need to be getting between 30 and 40 people once or twice a year for the foreseeable future.
I think for exec ed, we're a key part of delivering that social value piece as a business school. So we're actually working extensively with our community, with our local businesses to find out what they need. And then our job is to understand which researchers, which academics are going to have the best knowledge to help the external community. So we're really like a bridge point between the external world and our business community. We're there to try and make it easy for people to access the great knowledge that Cardiff Business School creates.
So we've, I think, got 2 approaches when it comes to how we operate in different parts of the world. So I could broadly say the Western world, although I don't think that boundary is that strict anymore. We're dealing with a professional procurement process. And so this is where things come out through a request for quotation. We're having to work with procurement portals. And so there's a lot of actually professional capabilities that are needed there. In the emerging markets, it's much more relationship based. And that requires us to spend a lot of face time in those markets, building up those relationships, in many cases structuring the opportunities, and really making personal connections with the professionals that work in those either governments or companies that we're working for. And so we've got 2 critical skills. One is very much a professional sales process, a B2B sales process, and the other is much more relational. And with those relational, we have to be able to work across cultures in the Middle East, in China, in Japan, and be deeply sensitive to some of the differences within those cultures. So academics are critically important to our business development process because essentially it's them who are at the core of the value proposition or the product that we're selling. And so we'll get them involved as early as possible. What we're also conscious of is we don't want to burden them with things that are not in their core skill base. And so some of the, let's call it the more bureaucratic side of the professional selling that we have to do, we'll keep them away. If that's got to be cleared before we can get into discussions about the content, we tend to, not put too much pressure on their time if that's not right. But, for us, we're selling our faculty and we want to get those faculty involved in those conversations with clients as soon as possible, because that's where we really find our capacity to differentiate from the competition. And when the faculty start to talk, then they can often get the strategic conversation going, which is really what the client is buying from us.
I think it is a challenge in terms of that speed. Obviously, universities are structured around an academic year. The business world doesn't really follow that type of calendar. So sometimes, if academics are at conferences, it can be hard to track people down to have those key discussions. But I think that's changing, to be honest, as the university environment is ever more competitive, ever more sensitive to the needs of the external communities. People are always a WhatsApp message away, and so our role is to really project manage that relationship, that communication between our research, the academics that are within the school, and the needs of the business community.